Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the Your Little Castle show. This is the Cardinal Cowboy. We've got an exciting guest in the studio. You know, life is all about the doors to entry. Life is so important. You have to have that pathway, that door that opens for you. And we're talking about Renner Garage Door right here, everybody. Brad Dodson, welcome to the show.
Thank you. Thanks for having me.
You know, it's neat to have businesses that are so involved in the community. You guys have been around for, is it 66 years now? Is that what
67.
67 years
Yeah.
coming out. And so when you have a company that's been around that long, obviously you've been ingrained in the company in the Midwest region. You guys are all over the Missouri area. Name for everybody the locations that you have.
We're in Kansas City, Missouri. That's our headquarters. We're here in St. Louis. We're in Springfield, Missouri, and we got a place in Camdenton, which is right there by the Lake of the Ozarks.
And we'll probably show a little bit of that up on the wall behind us, everybody. They've got a beautiful website we'll go to here in just a minute to share a little bit more about that. But as you can see, there's a lot that goes into putting together a successful company, but especially a company that's been around that long. And when the show is all about the castle, your house. And boy, if you look at some of these pictures we've got up on the wall, everybody needs a dynamite garage door because that's the biggest moving part of any house.
Correct.
And the heaviest, and something that can also be. I had some springs go out not long ago, and I started researching about how I might be able to replace the springs myself. And I'm like, people have bad things happen to them when they try to install their own springs. But that's why you need experts to do this, and that's what Renner Garage is. Tell me a little bit about why you love working with Renner Garage and why you've been there so long and what you guys do.
Well, I'm actually third generation of the company. My granddad started it, Gene Renner. My aunt is she's the boss right now. She's the president, Denise Doms. Third generation is myself and my cousin. So I usually make a joke about how we're going to try not to tank it because that's kind of the reputation that third generation gets. But I think we're in a good spot. We have very little ego. We're not afraid to get our hands dirty. Thankfully we were both brought up to where we're expected to earn it. So I remember being younger and kind of coming to realize that my granddad has a little bit of money. And I forget how I asked him, but it was something like, "Hey, Granddad, I could use some money." And he said, "Well, we could use some help out in the warehouse,
right? Okay,
packing some hardware cartons." And I'm like, "Okay, so that's how this works." Okay, got it. So
you got to earn a living these days.
Yeah.
Something that we need to pass from one generation on to the next, and being as long as you guys have been in business, something you guys are doing a good job of already. Tell me the path that led you here specifically. I mean, beyond that, then you said, okay, Dad, Granddad,
Mm-hmm.
and then you're third generation doing this,
Mm-hmm.
and you've moved up within the ranks, and now you're the director of business development. Is that right?
That's correct. Yes.
Okay. How'd you end up there?
Well, basically, I kind of wanted to do my own. It was third generation, and so I had a gift, a blessing, and not everyone had that. So I kind of wanted to go out and do it on my own. And that was a challenge, and through kind of going through some of those challenges, ultimately coming to grips with, look, this is a blessing, and not everybody does get this opportunity, and coming to grips with that, and deciding, well, let's build on it, let's do good for it, it's a gift, but let's expand it, and make it better because of us. So I fully embraced it, and I'm all in.
Yeah, well, as it keep that family tradition going, it's something that. So you're right. They've done studies about this, and it's usually the third generation. First generation is the one that may build it and get it there and make it what it is from scratch. Often, second generation gets to kind of benefit from that. By the time it's to the third generation, it's like, got this business. But you guys are still doing awesome, and it's really good to see such a successful company. And I'm excited to be part of it. We'll talk about that in a little bit here too. But you talked about the path that got you there. What do you think is a personal hobby of yours that might tell us a little bit more about why you've had an affinity for this and why you got involved?
Well, personal hobbies. I'm a big baseball and football fan.
There we go.
I'm pretty busy. I got a couple young kids, so my wife keeps me pretty busy with all the activities and family events and all that kind of stuff. A passion of mine is autism, the autism spectrum. So one of our kids is a high functioning autism, so that opened us up to a whole new, a whole new world that we knew that autism was a thing, but we never really had to dive into it. And so, that's obviously become very special to us, and we've experienced that world and ultimately become better people because of it. And then just children in general. This world is not easy, even if you had a great upbringing like I've had. So just having a passion for children and giving them, try to give them a leg up to succeed. I like to say that most people don't care. They care, but all the way to the extent that, it kind of inconveniences them. And I'm no different. I'm not judging, I'm the same way. But the world's tough, and if you got a great upbringing, you still got your work cut out for you. So in the events that they're maybe neglected or even abused, and they take them backwards, it's really it really kind of upsets us. So anything we can do to build confidence in children, show them that goals are real and success is real, and that they can have that is we're real passionate about.
Now you're hitting on all the chords with regard to what we try to focus on, because everybody knows by now, not everybody, I'll mention it. My producer, John, reminds me, he says, no, a lot of people don't know why you do this. But yeah, I was in a drunk driving accident. We were hit by a drunk driver, and I was in a coma. And just what you have to go through with that. Life is difficult enough as it is, and was fortunate to have some really great parents, educated, they are educators, and really there for me. But man, wow, talk about throwing a wrench into life. A kid with autism, another challenge. But I think, isn't it also really neat that on this little planet, it seems though, my profess is that if you are willing to put in the work, you're willing to stay dedicated, you may not be the smartest, you may not be the most talented, but if you're willing to do the extra work to do it, to make it happen, and stick with it is the biggest thing, consistency, then you can pretty much be successful on this planet and really enjoy the fruits of, and then helping other people, I think, is what makes a lot of people makes them most happy, and that's something that seems to be lost today too.
Yeah,
a lot of that is very important. Tell us a little bit more about that path that got you here. So now you've been in the company. How long have you actually been in the company working as?
I like to say most of my adult life.
Okay.
That's really it. I kind of started in the late 20s, early 30s. Really started to get involved in the business. And I've done everything from working in the warehouse to pretty much every position you can think of. Got an opportunity to be the marketing guy, if you will. This was right around the time when the internet was starting to become more prevalent, and we kind of shared some of those duties. And we're a family company, a lot of repeat business, but we didn't have like that marketing person. And so it was just good timing. I wanted a chance to do something with the next level with the company, and that's where I got my opportunity, and things just kind of developed, continued developing from there.
Well, and that's the key to this. If you stick with it, start with something, put your time in, learn the ropes, build up and progress, and get a couple promotions along the way. It seems to be the path that historically has been the way it is. This whole internet thing has kind of messed things up a little bit. Some of these whiz-bang computer gurus come in, and all of a sudden they're like the vice president of some company, and they have no background without to run a company. But hey, they'll figure it out one way or the other. But the integral long-term approach, where you start off young and build yourself up, that's I've seen it provides for the most success from what I've seen. And it sounds like you're on that path, and you guys have a proof is kind of in the pudding, if you will, for that. What is it about your business that you believe fuels your passion? I mean, when you wake up every day and you say, man, love helping people to get their day started off right, so that the garage door is, it's a key piece to the function of our culture and the way the family operates. How do you talk about that?
Yeah, you said it right there with the people. So that's my favorite part of the job. It's really where my passion is. And that can be good or bad, quite honestly. Dealing with people, but working with people is definitely my favorite thing about it. People say they don't care how much you know until they know how much you care. I'm a people person, really. That's kind of where we're excited to bring you on, as we're the official garage door company of the Cardinal Cowboy, which we're super pumped about. Your voice, you have a voice in this community, and so to join this partnership with you, we're really excited about that.
Yeah, it was kind of interesting. You've got a strong base here in St. Louis, and we reached out to Caleb and said, "Hey, man, would you guys like to be a guest on our show? Talk about the background you have here and what you do to help the St. Louis community." And then he said, "Yeah, well, I'm meeting with, I guess he was meeting with you." And the next thing I know, he said, "We have an idea. We'd like you to be the spokesperson for our commercials on KMOX and et cetera." I was like, "Hey, I would love to do that. You know, that's kind of fun stuff. Kind of gets out there in the community for me to, spread more of the positive vibes we try to push out there." And I bought an extra new mic for it and everything just to make sure that this sounds good. And my buddy said, "You're going to do this, Carter. You got to do it right." And we love the opportunity to work with you guys because you stand for the right things. And that's what stood out, because we'd already done our research about you and then dug a little bit more to find out you guys are really on the ball and really helping the community. So we love to be part of it. Well, why don't we play real quick, because you want to show, I made a little video montage of it if everybody wants to take a look. And this is pictures we have from stuff I've done in the community over the voiceover that's on KMOX right now. So I'll leave it over to John to play that for us real quick.
Renner, forward and back. Hey, it's the Cardinal Cowboy. Excited to share with you about Renner Garage Door. Spells the same thing, forward and backward. Renner. Formerly the St. Louis Door Company, Renner's been selling, servicing, and installing garage doors in St. Louis since 1966. So if you need to repair or replace your garage door or opener, Renner does that. So call Renner or check out their special deals at RennerDoorSTL.com. Renner, the garage door company that does. Giddy up!
Well, there you go. So that is really neat. And you wrote that. I just had to read it, and took me a few tries to get it right. And then I can edit, so we had to cut every little space out to get that thing down to exactly 30 seconds. There's a 15-second piece that's out there too.
Yeah.
But really neat to be able to be part of a company and be kind of the person spreading the good word about what you guys do.
Yeah, we're pumped. We're really pumped.
Well, thank you for that. That's really cool. All right, so let's talk a little about, there are some special things you do that are available every day. Mm-hmm. We always talk about what's a special promotion you have or what's something you offer to the community. And this is on running with you guys. You have a discount for senior citizens, a discount for military and first responders. And then also, another thing, we'll talk about that right after. Explain about why you do the senior citizen, military, and first responders discount.
Well, I mean, we respect our elders, and we know that sometimes, as time goes on, people could use some help. Of course, we appreciate our military and everything that they do for us. I mean, it's really because of them that we get the life that we have right now. And our first responders they keep us alive, quite honestly. So we want to do everything we can to help them. So it's a 10% off for that community, the senior citizens, the military, and the first responder.
Very cool. And then, as many of us do deal with, when you have higher ticket items, there's credit card processing that's available. But there's on a $30 purchase, a lot of times, and there's even restaurants sometimes are like, hey, there's a 3%, 5% convenience fee, because that's what the credit card companies are passing on. So you have to absorb that or pass it on. So, but if people pay with cash or check, is that right?
That's correct. So it's a 5%.
Okay, 5%.
Yeah, and those can be combined. So the senior discount and the cash, or the first responder and the cash. So that's 5%. So that could be up to 15%. At that point. And yes, it saves us the credit card processing. So we'd like to pass that on to you. So it helps both of us.
That's key to some of the success you have when you run in a business, and you just say, here's some of the things we like to highlight, the people that have contributed. Somebody who's a senior citizen, might not forget my grandma. You should go up to wherever she was at. She'd say, and do I get my senior citizen discount? But if you've made it that long on this planet, you've kind of earned that, right? And that's why they say people get a senior citizen, and especially the people in the military that have served our country. Let's talk a little bit about your reviews. I saw some dynamite reviews out there with you guys, because you're obviously doing a good job in the community. So we'd like to, and I'll even pinpoint a couple there, if I might. And give me a little bit about what reviews you think are most effective with what you got. And I'm going to pull those up here. Give me 1 second. Tell me, why do you think reviews are so important, Brad?
I mean, they're just they're honest. I mean, it's not an advertisement. So I mean, you're telling the consumers out there, what your experience was like. So it's extremely valuable. To have that real world experience. I mean, let's be honest. We run advertisements. Other people run advertisements, and and we get to deliver that the way we want it delivered. So you can't fake this. I mean, I guess there's some technology out there that allows people to do that, but I think that gets found pretty quick by the Google algorithm and things of that nature. So
yeah, so there's reviews up to 4.7 overall score, 35 reviews. So you don't have 4,000 reviews. So that tells me you're not just going out and just randomly saying everybody and their brother. You want to get the people that want to take the time to get these, and it's not a 5.0, but it's a 4.7. So not everything's been perfect. And if it was, then we'd be like, hey, what's going on here? But yeah, 4.7 overall. I'm going to read a couple of these. I'm just going to randomly pick one of these. You can see we've got a bunch of. Let's do this one right here. We've used the company since 1977. Every time we needed service or new product, they are extremely responsive and polite. We just had a new double garage door opener installed. The installer was punctual, professional, and polite.
Yep.
And so you can see some of the fun stuff that they do there. I'm going to read one more.
You'll probably see a lot of John on there. People love our tech, John Harden. He's been with the company for a long, long time. So
yeah, here we go. Right. I won't read this whole one. But yeah, John is a well-known guy in your space.
Yeah. Yeah, John Harden. So
okay.
He's big.
The service at John H arrived quite early in my promised time period, 8:30 to 8:11 slot. Okay. Mm-hmm. And quickly advised my door was not in bad shape, but had him replace my 10 rollers. As I requested, my time for scheduling phone call 2 days earlier only, with nylon wheels versus real steel wheels. Yeah, so now you're just saying this. That's a good example, everybody. And for those who, when you're saying, hey man, I need to get a sale, get some business out there. What can we sell these guys? Put a new garage door in. Didn't need a new garage door.
Correct.
Gave them what they needed.
Yeah, John's kind of our secret weapon. So people just love him, and he wants to take care of the customer, and that's who we are. I mean, that's just who we are. That's who we've always been. So
very important. Well, tell me one thing that really you believe sets your business apart. There's some other garage door companies around, but what do you guys do that makes it stand out?
So we call it the Delden difference, is what we call it. So Delden is our umbrella company. Delden sells the Delden product to other door dealers as well. But we are, that's our business to business side, but Renner is the installation division for Delden. So it's the business to consumer. So that's our marquee product. And, with the Delden difference, it's three things. It's premium components, all Delden brand doors, multiple brand options, and custom doors built in-house. So you're gonna have to have one to be in business. You might have two, but it's pretty hard pressed to have all three of those. So premium components in all the doors. It's all 11 ball nylon quiet rollers. It's heavy duty hardware. It's higher cycle torsion springs than the standard industry. Typically it's about a 20% longer life. You're going to get that from our entry level products all the way to our high end products. It's just built in. Whereas some of our competition, those are kind of add-on items, so you get your quote and then you start asking, hey, what about some higher cycle springs? What about the quiet rollers? Then the ticket kind of starts building. So that you're going to get that with us, premium components in all of our products. Multiple brand options. Maybe Delden doesn't have the color or the specific design, whatever it is. We've been around for a long time, built a lot of relationships over the years, and we have a fair amount of buying power. So we can really provide you about any type of product or any particular brand at probably the very competitive price. And then custom doors built in house. So a lot of the competition, they have people they can choose from. They have a lot of different options you can choose from, and there's very little modification. There might be a little bit. We can really control that entire process. So we can build, you can basically draw it up on a napkin, and we go over those specs, and chances are we can build that product for you. An easy one to talk about is like kind of the arches on some homes, and we can build that arch, specific to your home's arch, to line up versus arch or no arch. You can modify some of our current designs. I mean, it's called Your Home, Your Design. So to be able to have, the premium components and everything, if Delden doesn't have it, we got another brand that has it, and to be able to customize everything to a very high level, you'd be kind of hard pressed to have someone who can fulfill all three of those.
Yeah, I'd say it was a matter of you guys manufacture a lot of these parts with Delden as the parent company, and so then you're not going to somebody else's product. I mean, periodically if you have to for some cases, but you're the one manufacturer for most of what you actually implement. That's neat to know, because now I'm like, where did this come from? And they don't even know who this was, but you're the ones making it and then installing it.
Correct.
Very cool. All right, well, tell me, What's a mistake that consumers make on a regular basis? Consistently, you see people come in and they go, "Oh, I just want to do this," and you're like, "No, I'm not sure who told you that," or something they did, and you're like, "Oh, we better fix that because you're gonna have a big problem later."
Sure.
Talk about that a little bit if you would.
One thing kind of gets overblown is R value. So R value is kind of the insulation value. And it's got some value, but people kind of overblow the value. The internet kind of overblows the value. Once you get to like a certain R value, it's kind of like the SPF with a sunscreen, you know. So once you hit that higher number, like all the higher numbers, it doesn't really add up quite as much. It's not a 1-for-1 or 2-for-2. You can basically double the R value, and the energy efficiency went up like 3 or 5%. The industry is actually converting from an R value to a U factor. They're really just catching up with the building industry is all it is. And the R value it's a section R value versus an installed U factor. So the R value is the center of the section. Most people assume it's going to be the thickest point. And then they say, you know, this is the R value, which we did in our own manufacturing facility, and these are our calculated R values, and you pass it off as the whole door. You can't fudge the U factor. It's an entire installed unit. It goes to a testing facility. You're provided your U factor. And it gets an air and water pressure test, and it takes into account the joints along the perimeter, the bottom seal. It's a true test of the entire installed unit versus basically the thickest point of one section that discounts between the joints and around the section. So the industry is currently in the process of making that the recognizable measure of energy efficiency. Plus, one more thing about all that is that it's hard for me to say that with you increase all your R value that you're going to really feel the temperature control, especially when it opens and closes, and to promise you that that you're going to have all these heating and cooling savings. So look, I'll take your money and I'll sell you the super high R value. Be happy to do it, but we're going to basically let you know and let you make that decision. But we're not going to promise you things that we don't really, that we wouldn't sell a friend.
Yeah, it's just to say that if they really insist, but first you must understand what you're buying by doing so. And that's another point along what we were talking about earlier, and say, hey, let's do what you need, not necessarily what you think what you want.
Yeah, and if you want it, like I say, hey, we'll gladly do it, but we want to make sure that we're doing right by you, and then ultimately the decision's yours.
Yeah, at least let them know here's the information. You may not have realized somebody made that a big issue to you, but let's explain that a little more. That's important. Tell me a time when you really felt like you've helped a customer, or saw a particular situation where somebody was like, I don't know what to do, or this happened, and and the guys aren't here anymore. Give me an example like that.
So we try to make it pretty seamless, anyways. I think people go into it, they're searching online, they kind of got in their mind that they need a basic garage door. Usually from a budget perspective. And it's our job to come in and make that experience easy and kind of, narrow down for you. Like you're saying, I want this, I like that, this is important to me. And we're able to kind of, present you some options instead of throwing you the entire catalog and saying, let me know what you want. So, one personal experience I remember was this lady who, she was an artist. She had very specific taste. And I could tell that not everyone really wanted to kind of spend the time with her that it was going to take. It wasn't really the most expensive product, quite honestly, but it was very specific. So took that time, just the right color, just the right window size, just the right detail. And it took a little time, but the finished product was really neat, and I could tell that she appreciated that someone just took that time with her, and it seemed like that she was having a hard time kind of getting, maybe getting that attention.
Well, it's one of those things where this is a decision many times. It's not something you're going to swap out your garage door every 6 months, right?
Correct.
These are big decisions. You spend a lot of money. You want this thing to last a long time. Do it right. Do it right the first time. And then we say it almost every show here. Cheap, somebody trying to be cheap, trying to save money, gets very expensive if you just don't do it right. And that sounded like that was a custom thing that was kind of done for her. Is that true? Yeah,
honestly, it wasn't even that custom. It was, she had basically had one windows on one side, and the windows a certain size, make sure the dimensions exactly right to kind of fit the other areas of her home, and the placement of the window. And like I said, she was an artist. You know what I mean? Like things had. But I was glad that we were able to give her what she wants, because quite honestly, it was it was a certain kind of basic model door with windows on one side, but she had a few little specifics that were very important to her, and we wanted to be able to put the right fit in there for her.
Well, that leads to the next thing. I always like to find out, what is the process that somebody goes through when they want to start working with you guys?
That's real simple. Basically, we get out there, we finally go through and come up with a price and a product that you're after, that you like, and then you basically place that order. We communicate the expectations as far as when you're going to hear back, when to expect us to call. And then we go back, we process that order, wait for the materials to come in. Once we have all those materials and quality checked everything, we're going to call you up and say, hey, we're ready to come out. So we got this, from this day on, pick a day, and they'll pick a day, and you'll schedule a time, and okay, we'll see you then. We come out there and we do the job. And we want to be available too. We got people who've been doing this for a long time. So if you got any questions, hey, we're on site now. You might have some questions. Consumers always have questions. I do. I'm in the door. I can tell you everything about garage doors, but you don't want to start talking about some other things. I'm probably going to have some pretty silly questions for you. So
right.
So just being available since we're on site to be able to do that for you, and then basically. You're left with a positive experience, and you're telling your friends about it.
Well, it sounds like you obviously have the depth of knowledge, and that's where we want always to emphasize the experts in the industry, and with the depth that you guys have, man. I don't know why you would want to call anybody else with the experience you guys have, third generation here doing it right. Tell me though, as it goes, there's always a challenge. There's some kind of challenge in life, whether it was related to the business or a particular customer, or somewhere when there was a big hurdle that you guys had to figure out. Tell me a time there was a challenge that you guys had to overcome.
Well, there's a little something that happened in 2020 that I think most people are aware of.
Sure.
So, and that happened in a lot of industries, especially the construction industry, probably especially a lot of industries. I mean, but that got the entire garage door industry. I mean, it was just unprecedented material shortages, unprecedented cost increases, unprecedented, lead times. I basically felt like for 2 years straight, my job was to apologize to customers. That was it. But where we actually came out better as a result of it is I talk about the relationships we built with vendors, throughout the years. So if we couldn't get a material from this vendor, we could get it from that vendor. And being that we had all those relationships, we never knew how important that was going to be able to pivot and have that opportunity. So, we had to incur the cost increases just like everybody else. We had to incur the lead times just like everybody else. But getting the material we seem to be able to get the material.
I'm going to jump in here real quick, everybody. So we're going to go through and show much more depth of the website. Lots of great information. But if you're watching this live on our ABC broadcast, the broadcast on television right now, then this is the end of the segment. Watch for more. There's a lot more to come because Brad here has so much knowledge. So with that, I'm going to continue on and watch the full segment. If you like, it's going to be on our YouTube, their YouTube, Facebook, all the places you can see all these full interviews. And we cut these up into clips too, so everybody can have a copy of their entire interview and clips to break down each segment, each question and answer, because we want the public to understand these things, and you don't have to absorb the whole thing all at once if that's an easier way. We know that sometimes, they say, how do you eat an elephant?
One bite at a time.
One bite at a time, that's right. So with that, let's take a look here. John, if you would put up on the wall for us the website, there we go. And so walk us through this a little bit. You see your locations there, and focus on residential, garage doors, openers, and accessories. Let's take a look at some of the doors themselves, because this is where the beauty comes in. This is where you see some beautiful stuff. Talk about a little bit more about what you've got, what you're offering here.
Yeah, I'd be happy to. So the AMR Classica is a unique door. They actually haven't patented, like a stamp steel carriage style 3-section door. So you can see the detail from much further down the driveway because it's not chopped up quite as much. If you like windows, it's great big windows. They're basically a third of the door versus like a quarter of the door. And it just pops. It just stands out. So when you're buying that door, you're buying the aesthetics. You're not really buying a better door per se. But people are, they love that product, and if their budget allows for it, then they want it.
Yeah, that's a good looking door. Go down a little bit. The Dell trim. This is pretty cool.
The Dell trim's that one of those custom doors. So we call this an overlay door in the industry. So it's a flush door with that overlay material around. You can see the arch right there. So that could have been an arch on someone's opening, and we could put those verticals, horizontals, any place that you want them. So that's a custom built garage door for you.
Okay.
And then the Vintage and the Delvation are by far our top selling products. So the Vintage, hey, you like the Classica, you love the Classica, but maybe your budget doesn't allow for it. This right here is an excellent door. Like I said, it could be 70% of what we sell. It's really great. It's affordable, it's attractive, it's low maintenance, it's got all these design options. And then the Delvation is really the same thing as the Vintage. They got a 100, non-insulated to a 600, polyurethane injected, super insulated. We sell most of the 200, the 400. Again, just they're affordable and they hit all those check boxes. And the Delvation can be traditional or contemporary, and you kind of see those two options there. So.
The Dell Craft?
The Dell Craft's more of a commercial grade, so it's got all the same looks that we're talking about with the Vintage and the Delvation, but it's got a thicker gauge of steel, so it's got to be kind of a specific application that you want it for. So it's a great door, but it's more so of a specific niche.
Gotcha.
The Amar Vista is that you see it at the the restaurants a lot, and so it's very sleek, very contemporary. I always make a joke when I'm sitting with someone that if you go with this right here, the kids can't go to college.
That's the high level.
Yeah. And the Horizon's kind of even a newer spin on the Vista with more sleek, windows on there, so it's even more contemporary. It's really a very comparable cost to the Vista, just a more kind of sleek look. And then the custom wood, this is the second part. We do our Your Home, Your Design, so that includes the overlay door, the Dell trim, and then these custom wood doors. In both of those, we control the entire. So the Dell trim is going to be more low maintenance, and then the custom wood's going to be, there will be some maintenance required for those because it's actual wood.
Touch on your overhead door. I'm sorry, your doors. Well, overhead doors you call it, but the is that commercial?
Yeah, these are commercial. So they're all kind of variations of the residential product. You got your service station door. I wish it was. But that's what you'll see at the auto dealerships and again at the restaurants. They're just basically bigger doors, larger doors, and so once you get past an 8 foot, it becomes a commercial door. The DTC is it's a polyurethane injected, highly insulated door. That'd be using some niche type of products. The CDC over there, that's a very, very popular, affordable, well insulated product. And then you basically get down to the rib commercial. That's about as standard as you get on the far left. As your kind of just good. It just give me a good garage door. It's kind of the staple of the commercial, if you will. And then again, there's that Amar multi-view, which is the commercial version of the Horizon.
Well, lots of great information out here. You guys have a beautiful looking website. Looks like you spent some time. You do service, you do parts.
Oh yeah.
And so obviously all the stuff that you sell, you can fix and maintain, and the maintenance and all that stuff is very important. Well, very good information for you there, John. If you don't mind, switch over to the other. I want to show a little bit more about their Facebook page. So you can see here, there it is. John's on the ball. Thank you, John. And look at that. Okay, so you do keep up to date with some of your posting here. This is the St. Louis-based page, right? And Happy Pets Day, and we've had a little bit of a share there with our garage, our commercial. It's on KMOX, and that's that new little mic I got. My buddy, he did the voice for Grand Theft Auto, so I knew who I was listening to when he says that's what you need. That's the mic you need, and then we've got just all around good information to help share with people, events going on, and things that you partake in.
That's my aunt winning an award. It's called the Heritage Award. Okay. So it's people who have contributed to the heritage of the and the well-being of the garage door industry. So that's an international the IDA, the International Door Association. So she got that last year. That's Denise Doms right there.
There you go. That's where the family starts going with what you're doing.
And that was our first announcement of you right there.
Oh
so,
yeah, that's right. We did there.
So it was like a Saturday morning. I was like, I can't wait to talk about this.
It's official. It's out there. No, we appreciate what you guys do. Lots of great information out there. So we did want to give kind of a rundown of both the website and the Facebook pages, because that's where most people do spend their time. So let's talk a little bit more then about what it is that really sets you guys apart. And I'm going a little bit off menu here, off of the standard list of things I cover, because what hit with me was a little bit about how much you guys seem to really care about the community. I mean, everybody has to care about the community, or your success will be lost, I think. But it seemed like something you and I struck up a couple of really good conversations about why that is important. And I'd like, if you don't mind, I'm putting you on the spot a little bit here, talk about why being part of the community and what you guys do along with the community, and why it was so important to build a little partnership with somebody who does that kind of stuff was something that resonated with you guys.
Well, I mean, at the end of the day, it comes down to people. And, people come onto the team, and we interact with people every day. And, these people, they have families, they have grandparents, they have children, they have spouses. So anything you can do to just kind of help contribute to that. Again, I always just think about the kids. So when we bring on an employee, there's a good chance they either have kids or they're going to have kids. So anything we can do to kind of benefit them, it's just going to help everyone in the in the long run. We have employees that again have kids. Kind of always talk about. It seems like we sponsor like their kids sports teams and things of that nature.
Very cool.
We'll donate to different things. We have a holiday drive every year where we kind of pick something. We've done multiple St. Jude Dream Homes where we provided the doors for that. The Children's Mercy Home for Little Heroes. We probably don't do a great job of talking about it, honestly, but if you kind of reap what you sow, I guess, and we're just trying to do our part. That's all.
Well, it's almost like I don't like to make it sound like that's a strategy for success, but it really is kind of the way I believe, speaking for myself here, God made it. You help people, you do good things to help make the world a better place, your life becomes easier. And it just seems like a lot of people miss that. They're like, what's the shortcut? What's the easy way? How can I get through this without having to put the work in? And that's just not the way the world works. That's we're seeing how long you guys have been around, and the conversations you and I have had personally talking about this, and then what we're deciding to work on together here. That's what I stand for. So it was really neat to be part of what you guys are doing and continue to go forward with what we can do to help bring that kind of attention to the community with a company that does this for so long and has proven it.
Yeah, and we're equally as excited because I know that you have relationships with other people who help the community. So it provides us a path to hopefully have a bigger impact and ultimately help more people. So we're excited about what you bring with.
Well, with that, let's talk about a little bit of the fun stuff we talk about. Give me your favorite quote, if there's a quote you had, because that kind of tells us a little bit about what kind of the way you become inspired or what you think about from a movie that you like.
So I'm a big Rocky fan, so I kind of did. So anytime I go through like a struggle, the song of "There's No Easy Way Out" from Rocky IV always comes to mind. So that right there, and then as far as a quote itself, because that's really a line of a song, would be from Rocky Balboa, where it says, "It's not how hard you can hit, but it's how hard you can get hit and keep moving forward."
And keep getting up. Yeah.
So those would be considered my favorite quotes, I'd say.
Well, you're hitting right on with one of my favorites. I don't often quote my favorites, but that's one right along the lines from my dad. The quote that I say that I probably talk about most, which is, "It's not the error in the game, especially with regard to baseball, right, that causes you to lose the game. It's how you respond to that error."
Sure.
Or how hard you get hit even more, and then you still get back up, because it's tough. There's always going to be something everyone's going to have to go through at some point in their life. It's going to be challenging, and it's then you fold up and go, "What is wrong? I don't want to do it." Or you go, "All right, that was not fun, but I'm going to get back up on my feet and do it again." And
learn from it.
You learn from it. Yeah, I was going to say, that's exactly what happens. You learn from that, hopefully, and you go, okay, now I know what happens. And I know, I make the joke also in some of the speeches I've given, I'm not the smartest guy. Some people think I'm smart, but that's okay. You got them faked out a little bit. But the truth is, I will try it 10 times before the smart guy tried it once.
Yeah.
And which is, I think the benefit from that is that I also know the 9 things that failed that he hasn't tried yet that will cause it to fail that he will never learn because he got it right the first time because he was so smart.
Have you ever heard that line from Thomas Edison, where it said like, well, you failed however many times it was, 100 times, 1,000 times.
I think they said 1,000 times.
Yeah. Why'd you keep doing it after you failed 1,000 times? I didn't fail 1,000 times. I learned 1,000 ways you don't make a light bulb.
Exactly. That's exactly along those lines. That's a good one. I like that. So, what's one major objection that people have when they're starting to get? All right, we need the garage door, but I have this concern or this question, or maybe it's just something in general with how with the business side of the world.
It's more people don't realize what they have access to. Again, they've looked online, they see these things, and the big thing is I just need a basic door. And usually when they're saying that, they're thinking about the cost associated with that. And so basically we let them know what they have available to them at such a minimal cost for the basic door cost, whether it be because we have all these standard colors, we have like a half a dozen plus designs within this basic door. So once they get past that and realize, wow, so now instead of me getting a basic garage door, I've moved from the aesthetics of my house, the curb appeal of my house, and I'm still having the price conversation of a basic door, but I have all these options available to me. So once they see that, that's when it becomes from a necessary purchase to somewhat of an exciting purchase.
And that reminds me of another quote: "The show must go on." Whatever objection that they have with regard to, is this going to fit? Is it the right shape, right size, right color? You can make all of those amendments, changes to make it fit and get it done for them.
Yeah.
That's what it sounds like. Very cool. All right. How does your company best contribute to the community, would you say?
I'd say just through those local initiatives, the holiday drives, the employees' kids, activities, the dream homes, the St. Jude Dream Home. Seems like we're always just kind of doing something, and half the time it's just kind of done, and like I said, we could probably do a better job talking about it, honestly, but we just try to help where we can. We're just trying to do our part. We appreciate our people, we appreciate the community, and if we're not trying to contribute, then I don't know what it is we're trying to do. So,
well, the one that struck me that we didn't really talk about prior was the fact that you sponsor kids' sports. Is that a core thing that you do that really you feel like you contribute a little bit with there? And that one strikes me because I can tell you I would not have pulled a ventilator out of my own throat had I not been so driven. And I love my mom, and she's a drama teacher and a speech teacher, but drama and speech didn't get the blood flowing for me. Playing sports made me want to wake up every day. I went to school during the day just so at the end of the day I could go to baseball practice, right?
Yeah.
And that's what got the blood flowing for me. But I was so determined, and I think that those sports, that is what gives kids, and I love what my mom does and my dad did with getting kids into college to play sports. But I think you learn so much more from those kinds of activities that otherwise, reading a book is great, but getting out there and actually functioning and being part of a team and learn how to win and how to lose and how to compete and how to practice. When you're contributing to kids in schools or sports programs like you are, probably the school sports program sometime, that means you guys are really doing some exceptional stuff. And I wanted to shout out for that one for you guys because I think that's pretty cool.
Thank you.
Good work. So tell me then, what gives you guys the most satisfaction for the overall? I kind of skipped over a couple things here I wanted to talk about. I want to come back to that one a little bit more. When you're doing this, how does it impact somebody? Because it's just a garage door. What does that really do? But it's not just a garage door. It's the entry and exit, and what protects their family and allows them to get out and interact in the world and bring their second most valuable piece of equipment out and put it and protect it safely. A little bit more about that. Tell me what your thoughts are there.
Well, the industry itself's been trying to say it for a long time, and I think it was around 2000 or so that seemed like people were starting to listen. It takes up a third of the real estate of the home, so it's the curb appeal that provides, and then obviously the insulation and the durability and all that kind of stuff. But quite honestly, you look at the cost of a garage door, the cost of a front door, and which one get used more, and which one has more real estate, and all that. So finally, that's come around. The carriage house door has helped that. Now we're going on to the contemporary, there. So that it's just it's always had this spot on the real estate, on the you know the appearance of the home, but it's, you know, when you consider the scale of things, it's more newly gotten the attention that it deserved, and now we're you know, people are able to see that, you know, every day. I heard a thing, I'm kind of going off on a tangent, but they were talking about like mailboxes used to just be a mailbox, and then they started showing them as more of an aesthetic thing and putting flowers around them and these decorative mailboxes. And all of a sudden, mailboxes went from a utility item to people had to have a nice mailbox. You know, and so that's kind of what happened with the garage door industry.
Okay. Well, yeah, there's this constant evolution, and it seems like, whereas a long time ago, my family has some houses that there's no garage. So now that garages get added on separately. You've seen some of our other guests, that's what they coach house garage, that's what they specialize in. And then now that becomes more of an asset to the house. And I guess, do you believe that, how much would you attribute the increase in value to a house by having such a good looking garage and having a great looking garage door? Because we're in the real estate world here, talking about that a little bit. How much do you add to the value of a house?
Well, we usually say about 1% of the value of the home by replacing a garage door. The latest cost versus value report just came out, and it contributes to, you get, like, I think it's 102% out of your cost. So it used to be like, you know, 90%, or in certain regions 75%, and so, you know, you get that back in the investment to you know, to do a garage door. Now it's actually 102, you know, so you take that, you bought a garage door for this amount of money, and you've increased it by over that amount, which makes us the number 2 ROI investment. The study just came out, so I haven't looked at it all, but I kind of got that initial snapshot. I'm like, wow, now we're over 100%, and we're number 2. So
yeah, because there's a lot of things people will do to increase the value of their home, and I guess the rehabs and fixing up and adding, finishing the basement, etc.
Yeah.
And I'd have to study all those a little bit. But if number 1, I don't know which one that is, but if you're the number 2 one, yeah, how many people do buy a lot of extra stuff that they love to have at their house, but it actually costs them more than the value is added? But you're saying yours is adding 2% more than what you spend on it. So it's hard to lose when you're doing that.
Yeah, it was like high level or mid level, and I think we're mid level. You know, like replacing a roof is probably going to have, you know, more value. You know, so it's in a different category than, you know, roof or you know, some other larger ticket item. So within those, you know, more manageable ticket items, that's where we're number 2.
One thing I want to touch on a little bit, because it comes to mind, is something I dealt with, and I got the construction grade garage doors, and then we had a tornado come through, and then they replaced them, and I made a call to a buddy, and he said, hey, here's what you need, and this is what we're going to upgrade you, and it'll fit into what you're getting with the insurance company and all that. How important is it to have a higher quality garage door? Because you can, again, save some money. You just got the aluminum door with no insulation versus these insulated, padded polyurethane. I heard you say that sounds like a big word. I've heard that before, but they make garage doors with that. And what is the difference there? And are you talking about money then saved economically with regard to the eco, or how much, you know, how you're heating that room, and how much? I mean, I've had pipes blow because the garage got colder than the rest of the house, but the garage was colder because we had a less expensive garage door, and though it was 17 degrees or 2 degrees outside, the house kept the house above freezing, but the pipe froze in the garage.
Yeah. I mean, it's you know, it's going to add to the durability. You know, at the end of the day, you know, you take a single layer steel door and do like a foam back, which, you know, again, there's a lot of those out there. You know, we sell them. It's a great product. You know, or you take a sandwich door. You know, steel front, steel back. You know, that's gonna have more you know, rigidity to it.
Right.
And in some markets, they have like a wind load category. So it has like a wind load rating up to a certain level of you know, of wind load of that pressure.
Well, that leads me to the last question here. We'll hit on here as we finish up, and we got a few more minutes left here. But the garage is not just a place to keep the cars anymore. Some people, they do barbecuing out in the garage. They do other. What do you do for fun? And does the garage tie into some of the fun stuff you get to do? I see people roll out their barbecue pit from the garage door. You could have it on the back of the house on the deck.
Yeah.
Could have it in the backyard, but let's do it right here in the garage. A little more option there with regard to, it's really cold. Crack the door, because you can set the garage door to not go all the way up and down. Let the airflow out because it's cold, but you can still keep that barbecue pit going? Give me some ideas. What is some of the stuff you get to do?
Well, I mean, some people have converted it into an entire room. Some people have it as an office. Some people have it as a playroom. I'd certainly do some things if you're going to have it as a playroom. Maybe disconnect such and such, or put that that extra lock in there, or make it to where they can't hit the button to open it up. If you got a playroom in there. I've seen some really cool kind of man caves and stuff like that. You got a bar set up. You got a TV. You got the epoxy flooring. It just really becomes a whole, like to where the whole neighborhood just kind of goes there, and you see the door open up. Those are some really cool, really cool setups. They got the wall mount opener, so you don't have the one over the head, so it's just nice and clean. We even have some blogs on our website about what are other purposes for a garage other than just to set your things in there. Obviously, some people use it for some storage, stuff like that. So yeah, sky's the limit. It's another room, and you make it into anything you want it to be.
Well, then back to Brad. What do you do for fun?
So I, like I said, I'm a big baseball fan. I've been to Ballpark Village around here. That's a great time.
Oh yeah.
We're pretty busy. I work a fair amount. My wife keeps us all pretty busy. So what I do for fun is, it's been a while since I've gone out and played baseball. I certainly watch sports. But a lot of my free time is kind of taken by birthday parties and things of that nature, school events, and they're 9 and 7. So
okay, your kids.
Yeah. So yeah, get my free time when I get it, and then it's fairly minimal at this time.
I understand. You had a favorite quote. Is there something separate here from what you mentioned? You happened to mention earlier, but do you have a favorite quote outside of what we talked about?
Yeah, because you asked me about a couple of these things, and so I have a lot of these quotes, so it was really hard for me to kind of come up with which one. But I basically came up with, if you think you can't, then you can't.
Right.
And if you think you can, then you're halfway there. I heard that somewhere. I'm like, that's right. Good. I like
that's
that.
That's a variation of the one my dad. If you think you can, or if you think you can't, you are correct.
Yeah.
Yeah. But you're right. If you think you can, you're started. You better go after it though, and then you're halfway there. But you're getting the big start just by starting to do it and go after it. Yeah.
And we don't use the word can't in our house.
Okay.
So I'll get on to my kids
like
if they say things like, "Well, I can't do it." They, and so they know at this point, coming from me, not to use words like that. But we really try to drill it into them that they can be anything that they want. Like I said, they're 9 and 7. They don't understand the scale of things, but.
Sure.
Just want them to have that so ingrained in them that it doesn't have to be taught later. That's our goal. I mean, a lot of people have come into parenthood with great intentions. There's a great saying about I was a wonderful parent until I had children. We've certainly had those experiences. So God willing, it we'll see how things work out. But these are our efforts. So.
Well said, and very important. Biggest St. Louis moment that you recall? I see the note over here that I like. This is cool. Talk about this.
Well, it's fun being a big baseball fan. The McGuire-Sosa race for the record, that was a very special time.
Right.
Obviously, it's gotten some controversy around it and all that, but when I'm looking back at my times, I mean, that was being a baseball fan. That was fun. That was a lot of fun.
Well, and I would have to argue that baseball, I think, is the premier sport for everybody that might guess. Right. I wear the rings, and we've got. All the excitement we do, and I'm going to change into my Cardinal Cowboy outfit here. We're going to get some dinner, and we're going to go meet with the rest of the crew. Caleb and Bob, is that right?
Yep.
And talk a little bit more about what it is you guys are doing, what the plan going forward with how we can really impact the community and do the fun things that we both know are important, and make sure everybody has a good, safe garage experience and something that brings value to your home and makes it a better value for your life and your family's well-being. So,
well, Bob's our regional manager, and then Caleb's our branch manager here in St. Louis. And it always, like I said, it always seems to come back to the people. So we want to do everything we can to grow grow our people, grow our leaders, and that's where we put our attention and our investment. If we got people who want to buy a book, who want to do certain self-help courses or build some skills. We're willing to provide those resources and even pay for those resources, because in our mind, if we contribute and you become a better person and gain more tools to succeed, we want to see you use those here for our company and watch that expand out to to people. But if you don't use them here and you go on, you do it somewhere else, we want to see you, we want to see you succeed. So we feel if we invest in people, we can't go wrong. That's how we're going to go about it.
Well said, and very important for the overall, for what we all are trying to accomplish on this planet. So I'll say it one more time here for everybody. If you haven't heard it in the commercials, but you'll see, compare my voice here on television versus what you might have heard on radio. Renner, spells the same way forward and back. Renner, the company that does. There you go. And I see it on the wall there. You guys have a lot of great just community-based stuff. You do a lot of things you do to help the world, make the world a better place. And one of the most important components for the house, the heaviest component, moving piece of equipment in the house.
Correct. The largest moving object in the house, yes.
And something that everybody needs to make sure they get taken care of the correct way. So everybody, shout out for Renner Garage Door. They are leaders in the community. RennerDoorSTL.com. And that'll take you right there to the website you see on the back here, and we'll be back with more information. Stay tuned for more here on the Your Little Castle Show, everybody. Giddy up.